Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We enjoy reading all comments, whether positive or negative, because it is very important to ventilate both sides of any issue. All we ask is that you observe the YouTube community guidelines. It is no longer news that Toto Wolff has been sabotaging Lewis Hamilton, ever since the announcement at the beginning of the season that he would be leaving for Ferrari. Despite Toto's loud protestations and referrals to the police, the accusations have continued to grow. There have been plenty of instances of sabotage, some of which include but are not limited to the matter of the mysterious drop-off in pace between practice and qualifying in Monaco, the underheated tyres which hampered him in qualifying in Canada, and the team's failure to tell him that George would be going to the faster medium tyres during the final stint, even though they had shared his data with George during qualifying to help him claim pole position. Last but not least, the Belgian fiasco, where the team did not tell Sir Lewis that George would be going on to the one-stopper that ultimately got him disqualified. These are just some of the striking examples of instances where the team sabotaged Sir Lewis's weekend for the benefit of his teammate. Some have suggested that this reprehensible conduct, which is putting Sir Lewis's life at risk, is par for the course in Formula One, while others have put the incidents down to human error, rather than deliberate sabotage. Well, what can you say? There are those who have suggested that Abu Dhabi was down to one human's error, rather than a deliberate sabotage of Sir Lewis's 8th title, by all of Formula One's officials and stewards. But we have evidence that, once Toto Wolff and Mercedes started to feel the effects of this unprecedented transfer in Formula One, they were motivated to start sabotaging it. We have produced several videos highlighting what Mercedes stood to lose by gifting the most successful driver ever to the most successful team ever, that also happens to be the most iconic brand in F1. But we stopped short of highlighting what Mercedes-Benz, the car manufacturer, stood to lose. We worked on the assumption that, despite the principle of guilt by association, the car manufacturer would only be nominally impacted by any damage that Sir Lewis's transfer to Ferrari could do to the legacy of its F1 car. Boy oh boy, did we underestimate that, or what? Perhaps it was arrogance, overconfidence, or blind prejudice, but Toto and Mercedes fatally underestimated the consequences of pushing Sir Lewis out to protect Michael Schumacher's legacy. Or maybe they were prepared to risk letting him go to what they considered to be an underperforming Ferrari, with little or no prospect of producing a car capable of winning a championship. Whatever their rationale may have been, now that reality has started biting, and they're hemorrhaging billions of dollars, Toto is moving mad. Yes, you heard right, billions of dollars, and we will provide the evidence in due course, so let us continue. There are many who have pointed out in the comments from the previous video that Toto's facial expression at the end of the Belgian GP, and before the disqualification, was contrary to that one would expect from a team principal, witnessing his first 1-2 finish in almost 2 years. Well, that ties in with our view that Toto has been motivated to sabotage Sir Lewis's move to Ferrari, because of the sudden realization of what it is costing Mercedes, the parent company, and what it will cost Mercedes, the F1 team. That realization has generated the pressure to continue sabotaging Sir Lewis, despite all the denials and police referrals. This pressure led Mercedes to make the error of adopting a one-stop strategy which they either did not properly calculate, or hoped that they could get away with. After all, a Sir Lewis victory supported by George in 4th or 5th would have been a better result for the team than a disqualification. It is an indication of the amount of pressure that Toto is under, that he is still focused on sabotaging Sir Lewis, despite being in the eye of a public storm on that very topic. It is astonishing that in the midst of all that negative public attention, Toto is still prepared to sabotage Sir Lewis, at the expense of the team. It is astonishing that Mercedes and a compliant F1 media would attempt to gloss over the fact that either they failed to properly calculate what a one-stopper would do, or they tried to cheat just to beat Sir Lewis. Anyway, it is clear to the rest of the world that Toto and Mercedes have been sabotaging Sir Lewis since the announcement of his move to Ferrari. Now, many of our regular visitors will be aware of this from our numerous videos on the subject, but for the sake of continuity and our new visitors we need to set the backdrop. It is clear to us and our regular visitors that Mercedes have always resented the fact that Sir Lewis is their most successful driver, and have done everything they could to hinder his progress, or find a suitable conqueror. They have been particularly desperate to usher him out of Mercedes before he could surpass their idol's 7-time record, and this is why they kept refusing to meet all of his contractual demands. Perhaps they thought no other team could afford him, value him so highly, or provide him with a car capable of winning. Whatever their flawed reasoning might be, Mercedes were prepared to roll that dice. Back in 2023, it was reported that Sir Lewis was looking for a 5-year deal worth $250 million. His contract at that time was reported to be £27.5 million a year, plus a £15 million bonus if he wins the title, and in 2024, he wanted the bonus to be a guaranteed payment which would raise his pay to £42.5 million or $55 million. Our regular viewers may recall that back in 2021, we cited this bonus payment as one of the reasons why the penny-pinching sociopath Toto Wolff, in his conflicting role as team principal and owner, withdrew the Abu Dhabi appeal. It has also been reported that on retirement, Sir Lewis wanted to be a Mercedes ambassador for 10 years at a cost of $25 million per year, or $250 million in total. For whatever reason, Mercedes refused to make the most successful driver in F1 history, who had only ever been powered by a Mercedes engine, their brand ambassador. Well, lo and behold, the most successful team ever, who had previously signed the most successful driver ever, jumped at the unexpected opportunity to snatch his successor from their bitter rival. The Ferrari deal with Sir Lewis, including the 10-year ambassadorship that Mercedes had rejected, has been reported to be worth $400 million. It therefore follows that Mercedes were prepared to let Sir Lewis, who they considered to be the best driver in the world, go for less than $400 million. It is therefore odd that the very same Mercedes, a few months after the announcement of Sir Lewis's departure, were reportedly willing to offer Max Verstappen $245 million per year to replace him. Now let that sink in for a minute. You may recall that before the Ferrari announcement, Toto Wolff had stated that he was fueled by personal anger to help Sir Lewis, who he rated to be the best driver in the world, win the 8th title that he felt Mercedes owed him. The same Toto, who had managed the Mercedes team that Sir Lewis helped to win 8 constructors' titles in succession, while he claimed only 6 drivers' titles and lost out on 2, in highly controversial circumstances, that pointed to Mercedes' complicity, is now offering Max Verstappen a package that dwarfs that which he refused to pay the best driver on the grid. Now, is this a case of Toto having realized Sir Lewis's true market value, in the wake of the Ferrari deal and subsequent loss to Mercedes, or is he just raging mad because his dastardly scheme backfired so spectacularly? Now, I don't know how many of you are movie buffs, but this to me is like watching a movie, where a leading character is making a series of disastrous moves, to cover for a lie that they had casually told at the beginning of the movie. You know it will ultimately end in tears, and from the comfort of your armchair, you can't help but be amused at what to you are the obvious missteps, when a mea culpa would have been so much better. Well, for those of you with more refined taste, Macbeth, at the point where he is considering whether to go forward, to become a short-lived king, or turn back and never be king, but live a longer life. This is how we view Mercedes' reported attempts to get Verstappen. Months after suffering the multi-billion-dollar cost of letting Sir Lewis go to Ferrari, because of their inbred prejudice, They are doubling down on their error by attempting to lure Crashtappen for an outrageous amount, instead of persuading Sir Lewis not to go. It is clear to us that the fury from the multi-billion-dollar loss that Mercedes has suffered since Sir Lewis's move to Ferrari was announced, has blinded Toto to the fact that they were exceedingly short-sighted in refusing any of Sir Lewis's contract demands. Firstly, it is very cold and calculating for Mercedes to not have paid Sir Lewis his 2021 bonus under the circumstances, but to refuse to guarantee a bonus going forward is just disgusting. It should be noted that, in the 3 seasons when Toto provided Sir Lewis with a tractor, he consoled himself with not paying him £45 million in bonuses, on top of the £15 million he saved from dropping the appeal against the theft of the 8th title, that he now claims he owes him, and is fueled by personal anger to help him get. That same Toto is now offering the man that he gifted Sir Lewis's 8th title to a bumper package that dwarfs that which he refused to give the man he rated the best driver in the world. Why would Sir Lewis, as the only driver in the top 10 not to have earned any bonuses since 2021, not want his bonuses guaranteed going forward? Maybe Toto and Mercedes were more focused on sticking it to Sir Lewis as part of their dastardly plan to usher him out of F1, before he could surpass their hero Schumacher's 7 titles, as we have repeatedly asserted. Or, maybe Toto just can't help being a Toto. But the world can now see the folly of Toto's decision to risk losing Sir Lewis for less than $400 million. We don't know why what we are about to reveal has not been reported elsewhere, so we ask those of you who may have come across these matters being raised elsewhere, to let us know in the comments section. It has been reported that the mere announcement of Sir Lewis's move to Ferrari back in February, some 5 months ago, led to a more than 10% bump in its market value. This news saw Ferrari's market value rise from some $62 billion to $70 billion. So, you have to be a maxipad to not appreciate that John Elkann's $400 million investment in Sir Lewis has paid off handsomely, and he hasn't even arrived at Maranello yet. But what we have yet to find reported anywhere else, and we ask for your comments if you have, is that Ferrari have now overtaken Mercedes in market valuation for the first time in history. Yes folks, you heard right, Ferrari gained over $7 billion and have since outstripped Mercedes in market valuation, by signing Sir Lewis from Mercedes for $400 million. Is that penny-wise pound-foolish by Toto or what? Or, a profit least appreciated by his own people? Or, cutting off your nose to spite your face? Or, please let us know what, in the comments section. 5 months on from the announcement, Mercedes' market capitalization is just over $73 billion, while that of Ferrari is just over $74 billion. Critically, the Ferrari valuation has been increasing steadily while that of Mercedes is declining after what appears to be an induced spike. It appears that immediately after the announcement, Mercedes somehow managed to induce a momentary spike in their market capitalization, but this was not sustainable, and their market value has since been dropping dramatically for the past 3 months. Fortunately, or unfortunately for Toto and Mercedes, depending on your perspective, the worst is yet to come. Yes folks, we are not beaming from cheek to cheek at the knowledge that Toto and Mercedes are moving mad to protect their legacy by keeping this information out of the public domain. No, I promise you we are not, in much the same way we promise that Abu Dhabi was just down to human error, Max Verstappen is the GOAT, and Toto Wolff is. Okay, we can't keep it up, you got us. What would give to have been a fly on the wall when Toto and Mercedes started to feel the backlash from Sir Lewis's move to Ferrari? Was there ever anyone at Mercedes who was party to those contract negotiations, who urged caution as they were taking advantage of Sir Lewis's loyalty in the wake of 2021? There are many that would argue and mock, and put forward other reasons why the Mercedes market value has plunged since the announcement of Sir Lewis's departure to Ferrari. Maybe the price of milk was low in Stuttgart, and the price of oil was high in the Sudan, or Meghan Markle wore a three-pointed star pendant the day before the announcement was made. Whatever the excuse or explanation might be, it doesn't change the simple fact that following the announcement, Ferrari's market value rose by over 10%, that is to say over $7 billion, and they have been trading steadily at that level ever since. Mercedes, on the other hand, received a suspicious bump of over $7 billion to start with, which turned out to be unsustainable, and their market value has since plummeted by over $17 billion, to lower than that of Ferrari. So, make of that what you will. Ferrari paid $400 million for Sir Lewis, and instantly gained over $7 billion, Mercedes let him go for less, subsequently lost $17 billion, and are now valued lower than Ferrari, for the first time ever. Does this explain why Mercedes, who were eager to get rid of Sir Lewis, are spitting feathers now that he is going? Does this explain why months after they seemed okay with letting him go to Ferrari, Mercedes are reportedly offering more to Max than they were prepared to pay the driver that they rated the best on the grid? What do those who noted Toto's facial expression at the end of the Belgian Grand Prix on Sunday now think about the fact that 2 days earlier on the Friday, for the first time ever, Ferrari's market capitalization exceeded that of Mercedes by over $1 billion, because Sir Lewis would be joining them? The Sir Lewis, who Toto rated as the best driver in F1, and was leading his teammate in the drivers' table, despite Toto's best efforts to sabotage his season. So, make what you will of the impact that Sir Lewis's transfer between the two has had on their respective financial market capitalization. There has been no disputing the fact that his impending arrival has boosted Ferrari to the tune of over $7 billion, and their market capitalization has been increasing steadily ever since. Some may argue vociferously that his imminent departure from Mercedes is not responsible for the collapse in their market capitalization, but how do you explain Toto's face at the sight of the first Mercedes 1-2 finish in almost 2 years? You should ask yourself this question: why can the $7 billion Ferrari boost be attributed to Sir Lewis, but the corresponding and significantly damaging loss to Mercedes, not attributable to him in any way, shape or form? Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, there's worse to come for Mercedes. We have unearthed even more damning evidence of the perils that Sir Lewis's move to Ferrari has in store for Mercedes. Many of you will be aware of the images going viral on social media in the wake of the announcement. Ferrari garage crew, executives, heirs, fans, tifosi, cooks, cleaners and candlestick makers, all coming out to greet Sir Lewis, in the paddocks, at the races, and wherever else. Imola was sold out for the first time since the Schumacher era, as Ferraristas trooped out to welcome the Mercedes reject.
Grande Luis! Luis! Ciao Luis! Grande Luis! Grande!
One can only imagine what the atmosphere will be like at a sold-out Monza, as a resurgent Sir Lewis returns to his new home, to a people that are showing him more love than his own have ever shown. There is plenty of evidence, pointing to the Lewis-Hamilton-Ferrari tsunami, that is gathering energy before making landfall in 2025, to destroy Mercedes's legacy, while lifting Ferrari to greater heights. We have already done several videos on how stupid it was of Toto and Mercedes to allow Ferrari to ambush their legacy by poaching Sir Lewis, and would refer those videos to those of you who haven't yet seen them, to get the background for this segment. In the spirit of full disclosure, we have very limited knowledge of social media and came to YouTube in 2021, because of what was happening to Sir Lewis and Meghan Markle. We have never been on Instagram, don't know anything about it, beyond it's where people post pictures about themselves, so that thieves and robbers can know whom to target, and when and where to rob them. But we are aware that social media following is an indication of how popular a celebrity is. It was through analyzing social media following that we were able to expose the lie that Formula One tried to spread, with the support of McLaren and Zak Brown, that Max and Lando were more popular than Sir Lewis. It is also through analyzing social media trends that we are able to reveal the pain that will be coming to Mercedes in 2025. In order to fully appreciate the significance of what we are about to reveal, you need to understand that before John Malone and Liberty Media took over, Sir Lewis's digital presence was bigger than that of F1. This was because back then, Sir Lewis was the only driver engaging with people on social media, despite the F1 community roundly criticizing him for it. Developing their social media presence was one of the drivers for Liberty Media taking over F1, and this is one sector where they have made significant strides, to the point where F1 has just as big a social media presence as Sir Lewis. The individual drivers do not even come close to him on any metrics. So, it is not news that Sir Lewis's social media presence dwarfs that of any team or driver with the exception of the sport itself. However, what is news that again, has not been revealed or quantified anywhere else, is the tsunami of support and goodwill that will make landfall in Maranello, in 2025. But on this occasion, we invite those of you, who are more knowledgeable on Instagram to fill in the blanks for us. A review of the Instagram of Sir Lewis and his future Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc revealed a picture or image of both of them together with their dogs. We have no idea how this picture came to be taken, how both of them ended up posing for it, why Mercedes allowed this obvious fraternization with the enemy, how it ended up on both their Instagrams and generated the same number of likes and comments. How the same picture can generate the same stats on two different Instagrams is beyond our comprehension, but what we do know is statistics, even if we say so ourselves. And the statistics from that image are damning for Mercedes. I can only presume that the heart represents likes and the speech bubbles represents comments, but what is clear is that that image is the most popular by a country mile on both drivers' Instagrams. This is bearing in mind that Sir Lewis is already the biggest star on Instagram by a country mile. Against this backdrop is the fact that the image of him and Charles generated more hearts than that of his epic Silverstone win, the first after Abu Dhabi 2021, which went viral and generated more comments. Therefore, one can only deduce that most, if not all of the 4 million or so people, who liked his picture with Charles, will follow him to Ferrari. The Charles Lewis image dwarfs everything else on Charles' Instagram, so that must be down to the Hamilton effect. This suggests that the Mercedes digital footprints will likely take a hit once Sir Lewis departs. Will this translate into lower sales amongst the younger generation? Possibly, who knows? But what we do know is that this is yet another curveball that Mercedes appear not to have anticipated, in their blind eagerness to get rid of Sir Lewis. Will there be a resurgence of the groundswell of public opinion in favor of Sir Lewis and against the injustice of Abu Dhabi 2021, on his arrival at Ferrari? It will be a very low-hanging fruit for Ferrari to use public agitation against Abu Dhabi, to dissuade F1 and the FIA from their continued anti-Lewis bias. So, whichever way you cut it, it was a bad move for Toto to let Sir Lewis go, and it is even worse to double down on their original sin. Unfortunately, as Toto is coming to realize the full impact of his calamitous error, he is desperately trying to sabotage the transfer to Ferrari, and we will continue to pray for Sir Lewis's deliverance.